All right, the new shifter kit came in from LMR. It is the SV Mongoose short throw shifter kit, and just comparing the old base plate to the new one, you can tell big difference. This one is all aluminum and it's thicker, and this should be a pretty nice piece. We got the adjustable stops, so I'll show you all about installing that. Take a look at the old one. And the reason I needed the new one in the shop is so I could measure out dimensions for my new shifter piece, shifter bushing. I'm going to make it of brass. This one's plastic. And I went ahead and mic'd the old ball just to be curious on what the size was. It's 621 thousandths. The ball on the new one is 622 thousandths, so almost right on the money as the old one. But of course I had to have the new one to measure off the outside diameter of the ball, because the ball part is actually going to fit down into the brass shifter bushing I make. I want it to be a nice tight fit compared to the plastic one. Now the other thing is, I took this home with the mics and the snap gauges, and I measured the bore of the hole that this sits in down the transmission. It was 749 thousandths. The OD of this piece mics out to 746 thousandths, so that's a 3,000 slop. So I'm going to make my piece 749 thousandths on this fit here, so that it's a nice slide fit and it doesn't really have any slop when I install it later. All right, so I got my material here. These are my dimensions, and I actually have everything to size up off of this time. So unlike the brass piece for the shift knob, I should get everything right. And just as a side note, I did go ahead and change my dimensions on that to look more sleeker than the old piece I had. And I got two flats still here, and I got the correct threads on the one end for the shift knob, and I got the other threads, and we can actually test it right here right now, because I know it fits on the old shift handle. And take a look at the two. You see how the old shift handle really comes back towards the driver compared to the new one. So I may have to maybe modify this even further, but let's see. Okay, this is the new shift handle I'm going to be using, and would you look at that, my brass adapter piece threads right on, so I'm happy with that. So I'm just going to run it just like that. And if you're installing this kit, I don't think you would, yeah, I guess this piece is just going to sit on the one side or the other side, however you want it. I don't know. I mean, it looks like these holes would work, so I guess technically you could run the old shift handle. I guess it's really up to you if you want the handle coming out more towards you as the driver compared to the handle it comes with. So that's what it would look like. And this is what the new handle would look like. I guess you can flip it. You'd obviously want it, angle this way a little bit towards you, but it really doesn't come towards the driver, so we'll see upon installing. All right, first thing we'll do is face our material per usual. I'll bring it a little bit closer. Here we go. Next we'll come in and do our center drill. Okay, the overall length is going to be 800 thousandths, so just over 3/4 of an inch. I'm going to come in, touch the tool to the face of the material, Yep, I got a mark there. As you can see, I'll zero out the DRO. And I'll crank this over a little bit past 800, because when I cut it off. Let's roll 875, why not? 876, that's good. Zero that out. And then we'll start making our pass down to 965 for the flange part of our shifter bushing. We'll go ahead and mic that. Should be about 980 or so. And we're looking at 976. I'm going to 965, so we'll go ahead and feed in, oh, I don't know, 10 thousandths. Okay, so my fit right here is now 966 instead of 965, but I'm happy with that. 1 thousandths difference on the flange. It's not gonna matter. Now, one thing to note, if you see my piece here and my diagram, it looks like I'm gonna be, you know, having the flange piece be here and then continuing on, but the way I'm gonna have to flip this around later and grab it after I cut it off or facing it. So actually what I'm doing is think of it like I'm actually doing it kind of backwards. So that way I can leave this back section, the flange part, and then now this front section here, I'm going to do the body of the shifter bushing that sits down in the hole in the transmission. So I'm going to turn most of this fit here down to my 749. Then later on, once I cut it off, I can grab it on this fit when I have to flip it around and grab it in the chuck, and so I can get a nice face cut and then bore out my my inside diameter to accept the ball for the shifter. Okay, so what I got going on here is the fit here was 774 and I'm trying to go down to 749. So I fed in 24.5 thousandths to hopefully put me at 750, or maybe even it took just an extra thousandths to put me to 749. So I only machined this first, I don't know, 1/4 inch section of it. I'm gonna mic it. And if it's good, I'll just feed the machine back, feed the tool back across the rest of the way, or if it's needs to go a thousandths more, I can just feed it in and then go the full cut. Or if I went too far, I could just leave that as is and turn the rest of the fit to the proper size. So I'm gonna go ahead and mic it here. Just a little trick if you're machining down to your final fit. Don't wanna mess it up. Okay, so that is actually right on 750. Now, based on using the snap gauges down in the hole where this sits in the transmission, it's 749, so this would not fit. And I'm definitely not gonna press it in because that'd be a nightmare to get out of the car in the future. So again, I just want my slide fit. So what I'm gonna do is I'll just feed in a thousandths more and then just let it run the whole length of the fit here. Chamfer your edges. That way it has a easy start in whatever piece you are inserting it into. And actually that's honestly perfect. That's 748.5 thousandths. So half a thousandths on it. It's actually perfect. So size for size, it may struggle to fit when installing it. So half a thousandths under is perfect. Yeah, I'm happy with that. Okay, so at this point, I was actually going to bore through the back hole size, the 408, but I realized I just kind of want that to be true with this hole, this ID. So what I'm going to do is, instead of continuing on, I should not have center drilled, but that's okay. I'm just going to choose not to go in from this side. I'm just going to cut my piece off, flip it around, grab it on the fit here, and then do all of the inside machining from one side. So yeah, at this step, I can go ahead and take it out of the chuck. Okay, so here's my piece cut off in the bandsaw, and you can see it's pretty darn close. The flange is only going to be a 1/16 of an inch thick. It's a little bit more than that, but I should have enough to get it by with 2 face cuts, maybe even 3, to get it down so that the top is flat. And then if you're ever unsure about the length of your fit of a piece you're machining, if you have the old piece to reference, you can actually lay them kind of backwards against each other, and if the flanges if they touch on, you know, both sides to your pieces like this, then you know you're correct on the length of your fit part. Or you could just measure it with the back of the caliper. But anyway, since this is still a solid piece, I'm going to be able to get a nice good grab on here. I don't want to go too tight, because once I start to hollow it out, the piece is going to get weaker, and I don't want it to end up deforming. So I'll grab it firmly, but not over tight in the chuck. Okay, so now I took a couple face cuts and got it nice and true on the face. So now I can take my calipers, and yes, you can sneak the one jaw in between the chucks, and to get the back of the piece, and the other jaw on the front, just like so. And get a good grab and slide it out, and we're looking at, may be hard to tell in video, but we're looking about 856. So that's pretty good. So I just need to take off 56 to get down to my 800 size overall length, and then after that, I have my center drill already set up, and I can start boring out the middle. All right, so I got it face down to 800, and I got my center drill started with the hole. Now I got my 13/32 drill, which is 406 thousandths. Now it does call for 408 thousandths, but since this is the smallest boring bar we have, and it's definitely bigger, it's about ½ inch wide at least, that's not going to work. So I'm just going to have to run the drill all the way through the piece, and the drill will actually slightly walk a little bit, so it'll probably end up coming right around 408, so I'll just run with that. It's drilling, but it's not happy about it. Definitely needs to be sharpened. But we are through, so we don't have to sharpen it today. Okay, that's what our piece is looking like so far. Now the next part, the bore bringing out the 622 for the ball on the shifter, that's only going to go down. We're going to leave a 100 thousandths wall at the end, so we're just going to bore all the way 700 thousandths. But before I can fit this boring bar in there, yeah, that doesn't quite go. So what I'm going to do is take another drill bit, step this up to slightly bigger than that, but not quite 622, and then we can start to go in with the boring bar. Okay, so looking down towards the bottom of the old plastic shifter bushing, it looks like it's kind of rounded at that bottom face right before the hole. So what I'm thinking is I have a 35/64 drill bit, which I'm going to drill mostly through the brass piece before I start going out with the boring bar. Now this is 546 thousandths of an inch and 8/10, so call it 547. Now I have my mark 3/4 past the tip. So I'm thinking if I go about 750 into my piece, the rounded portion will go into that last 100 thousandths fit or so and kind of round out the bottom of it, which will be better than trying to, you know, crank the compound, set it up at the right angle and everything, and try to, you know, almost blindly. It's be hard to look in there and get a nice chamfer in the back there. So why not just let the drill bit do the work for us? So we'll try that and see how it looks. Okay, so here's what we got. And out the flash is washing out the inside bore, but honestly that's kind of exactly what I was looking for, so I'm gonna roll with that. I don't think I can, yeah, can't get the right angle to take in on the view of on the other side of the piece, but that's what we're looking at. And now the boring bar should easily fit, yep, right into the piece. All right, so I got the boring bar set up now, and I actually went in with the 37/64 drill bit. So from 578 to 622, we're dealing with about 44 thousandths. So I'm going to take this one real careful, and since this is a small boring bar, I'm going to be taking light cuts anyway. So I'm pretty close to my size, but I'm going to be taking light cuts. So I'm going to go ahead and take care of this, and I'll come back with you with the test fit of the ball end of the shifter. Okay, so this is my first pass down in the bore. And after checking it with the snap gauges, you put the snap gauges in there and then you pull it out, and then I mic'd the snap gauges and I got 587. The 12 is about on the horizontal line. So 587 up to 622, again, taking it real slow, 10 thousandths cuts at a time. Okay, so you can see here I machined part of the fit, you know, 1/4 inch in, and I'm doing my test fit with the ball. And as you can see, line it up, it just barely slides right in. So I'm very happy with that. So I'm gonna leave it as is and just run the tool all the way down to the back inside of my piece and count that as a success. And the last thing to do is just to put a little countersink on the face of it, just like this one has. You can see it has a pretty healthy countersink on it. And then also don't forget to deburr the backside once you're done with your piece. One brass shifter bushing completed for a 95 Mustang. Of course, it'll also fit a 94 or any T5 equipped car, I would imagine, going back to all the box bodies. I want to thank you guys for watching. And if you have the access and ability to make a piece out of brass rather than plastic, I highly recommend it, because it will just, I imagine it'll improve shifter feel. At least that's how it was for my 1990 Miata when I did this. Similar process. So pretty cool that I can do this. I know not everyone has access to a machine shop, but cool nonetheless.